Hi everyone, this is Allison again, and I'm back with Chapter 3. I'm sorry about that cliffhanger in the last one, but more will be revealed in this chapter, so I hope you enjoy.
Chapter 3, Not My Life. When I woke in the hospital, I couldn't recall what day it was. All I could remember was the darkness. Although my body was weak, I managed to sit up. The room had too sterile a smell to it and was playing havoc with my nostrils. The room's restrictive presence was topped by the functional decor surrounding the room. Nothing of character existed here. There were no pictures on the walls or even a keepsake on the night table. I attempted to crawl out of bed. I found the lever that released the steel girders that bound me into place. My legs I found were stiff as I started to move them. I felt frozen as they dangled over the side of the bed. Knowing this, I still attempted to plant them on the floor. As I lifted myself up, I stumbled onto the carpet. I cried silently when I felt the pain of my fall. I was too stiff to walk erect, which could only mean that I had been there for quite some time, how long I couldn't recall. I crawled over to the foot of the bed where my medical chart lay. With slightly shaking hands, I began to read it. September 20th was the day I was admitted. I don't remember September 20th. September 19th was the day of the explosion. But what day is it now? I flipped the chart until the last date was shown, December 12th. It just hit me that I had been here nearly 2 months. In my weakened state I had no desire to move, so I laid down on the plush carpet and fell into sleep. I awakened at first light and saw a woman dressed in white coming towards me. She shouted frantically at me as I opened my eyes. "Oh, dear, she's fallen." "Who are you?" I asked, still sleepy. "My name is Nurse Crane, and you should be in bed, young lady. Come now." She helped me to sit up. "Can you stand?" "I don't know." She gave me a chuckle as she said in slight southern accent, "Don't know how you could after what you have been through. Let me help ya." Nurse Crane lifted me onto the bed where I had finally realized the full extent of my position. Amanda Crane, as she had said her full name to me, took my pulse and temperature. "Now, what were you doing out of bed, Miss Jane Doe?" "I don't know. I woke up, and I didn't know where I was," I said and bowed my head. A glimmer of hope entered my mind. "I want to go home. Please, take me home." "That's not for me to decide. Your doctor can be the only one to say when you may leave. He will be so pleased that you have come out of your coma." "Coma?" I shot up. That explained my stiffness and the reason why I didn't remember the dates written on my medical chart. "Sleep state," I said. I addressed myself more than Amanda. Then I turned to her and asked, "Is this not December?" "Yes, and how did you know that? Were you peeking at your charts?" "Did I do a bad thing?" I asked. "Father wouldn't think so. Is he here?" "No," she said as she came closer to me. "Do you know who you are?" "Of course," I said. "My name is Marianna Figon. My parents are Dr. Roland Figon." "How do you know my father?" "I don't, but I know of him. His fund helped start this hospital. Look, Marianna, you can't tell anyone who you are." "Why?" I asked. "It's too dangerous. Whoever blew up that building won't want any witnesses. If they know you're still living and can identify them, they'll kill ya." Amanda's words confused me but made sense in a strange sort of way. She seemed to me like someone who had read too many detective novels and believed everything to be a conspiracy in waiting. "Why should I lie about who I am?" I asked. "I never lied before in my life, not intentionally anyway." "Believe me, Marianna. There are others who thought like you are now, and they're dead. Like Alex Bailey in The Rising Tide." "Rising Tide?" I questioned. "It's a book about this guy who was a small-time hustler until he stumbled onto these gangsters. He witnessed them killing a man, and 'cause he went to the cops they fitted him with a pair of cement shoes." "Is this a real-life story?" "No, but things like that happen every day." I couldn't believe that Amanda thought the things in her detective novels were actually true. I remember Anna talking about the characters in her romance books, but she never believed them to be real. Amanda still went on trying to convince me that they were. Marianna, she said to me once more. You must listen to what I'm saying. Do you know what happened? Yes, and you're right. I did see the man who did it. He saw me as well. If this is true, you're next. No, I said. Father is still out there. Only 2 bodies were found, a woman and a child. They say that child was you. But I'm right here. I am Mary. What child could it be? I thought for a moment. Oh, no. Aurora. She must have followed me. Aurora? That must have been the little girl who died. I guess you're her now. Aurora's dead? It's entirely my fault. Why did she follow me? I cried hysterically. Amanda Crane handed me a Kleenex to dry my eyes. I was so busy drowning in self-pity that I didn't even notice that the doctor entered my room. Dr. Hayes, Amanda said and shot up on her feet. It seems our Jane Doe has awakened. Good, very good, he said and put his stethoscope in his ears. He put the other into my chest and told me to breathe. Very good. Now, do you know how long you've been here? I'm not sure, I said. I want to go home. Can I go home? Well, that isn't possible yet. Can you tell us who you are? I started to open my mouth until I saw the look of urgency on Amanda's face. Do you know who you are? I nodded, indicating that I did. My name is. I stopped for a moment, and then began again. My name is. Aurora Woodrue. There, I did it. I lied. I felt like a coward at the moment. Survival had become more important than telling the truth, but the way I saw it I believed. Marianna was already dead. She did die in that explosion. It was now my turn to be Aurora. Her sorrow embedded my heart. If only she hadn't followed me. The doctor left me alone with the nurse. My first impulse was to run, but for some strange reason I put my fate into the hands of these strangers. I fell into sleep feeling the guilt of my own survival. When I woke, I saw a woman sitting next to my bed wearing a smart beige suit. I felt a dark cloud had held my tongue hostage. I wanted to know what she was doing here and what was about to happen to me, but I dared not ask. In a way, I didn't want to know. I wished time would turn back and give me back my parents who were so cruelly taken. This must be Aurora, the woman said. Her features seemed cold, and the fragrance she wore made me want to choke. She sat in a chair next to my hospital bed. Aurora, she said, it has come to our attention that you are an orphan. What about Anna? Yes, she said and looked away from me for only a moment. Anna Faye, your guardian. Aurora, she has had a stroke and can no longer care for you. That's not true, I cried. I want to go home. I want Anna. I want Anna. I am sorry, Aurora, she said and rose from the little wooden chair, but that will not be possible. Why? I cried. Because no one will be there to care for you, she stated sternly. Now, as soon as you are released, you will be placed in a group home. Don't worry. Pretty girls like you get adopted rather quickly. She left my room without so much as telling me her name. I thought about what she said about being adopted, and I concluded that I didn't want to be adopted. Amanda had told me that my parents were dead, but I felt as if Father was still alive. Then I thought about Uncle Martin. He would surely know I wasn't dead. As the days passed, I grew stronger, but Amanda had stopped visiting me for some reason. I wondered if she was angry with me for some reason. Dr. Hayes stopped by several times a day and insisted on physical therapy. My body had become so stiff that I couldn't even stand on my own, and walking was impossible. I had to learn how to perform the simplest tasks, like eating, grasping, and even holding a brush to fix my hair. I recovered rather quickly under the circumstances, but I felt as if my true suffering was about to begin. The woman who came to take me, I was told, was a social worker. Her name was Christine Sheldon. She came to the hospital on the early morning of February 2nd. Her cold eyes met mine that confirmed the fact that I shouldn't have lied, but my fate was sealed the second I announced that I was Aurora Woodrue. Is she ready? She asked the nurse who was pushing me in my wheelchair. Yes, Miss Sheldon. She has made a miraculous recovery. Haven't you, dear? I said nothing as I looked down at the floor. I didn't want to look at the nurses who were pushing me into the lion's den. This woman had become my new jailer. To me, it looked as if she had no real compassion for my quiet existence. As I was wheeled out into the lobby, I wanted to shout out my true identity. I wanted to tell the world that I was Marianna Figon and not the dead girl I pretended to be. My mobility was a little slowed. This gave Miss Sheldon a reason to be upset with me. Can't you be any quicker? I'm trying, I said. I saw that this woman's sunny demeanor was all show. She had no compassion. She was just performing a job, and cared nothing about what I had been through. I entered her car from the front passenger's side and sat in silence on this journey to the unknown. I looked away because I didn't want to see her face. Maybe if I pretended none of this was happening it wouldn't be so. As I looked out the window I didn't see anything. I just kept remembering my mother's dying face. I tried to remember her last words, but I could not recall. Aurora, I heard Miss Sheldon's voice. Are you always this quiet? I said nothing. I wanted at that instant to crawl inside myself and hide. Aurora, this will not do, she said, scolding me. By the time we reached Duncan Hall I had better see at least a smile. Is that a command? I turned to her and finally asked. Oh, so you have found your voice, she said unimpressed. Can't you see that this is for the best? Your guardian is not able to care for you. I know how you feel, but life must go on. You don't know anything, I fired at her. I know you have been through a trauma, and now you must get over it. It was easy for her to analyze away the facts of my ordeal. With her perfectly styled hair, perfect clothes and tight skin, I doubted if she had ever experienced 1 ounce of pain in her life. Not only did I lose my parents, but also I had lost myself in the process. Marianna had died so Aurora could live, but it was all an illusion of the pretend world I was slowly creating. I took comfort in the illusions of this fake existence, even when the sorrows of Duncan Hall came to murder my beautiful world. We're here, Miss Sheldon sang. She acted as if we were going to a ball and not to a prison for children. Upon entering the building that looked more like a large house than an orphanage, I felt my heart drop. A cold chill came over me as I heard the screams of silence. My only glimmer of hope was seeing a pretty blonde and bubbly woman dressed in blue jeans and a t-shirt with the name of the establishment written on it. Miss Sheldon, the woman said, is this our new resident? Yes, Miss Forrest. This is Aurora Woodrue. Kneeling down to my height, Miss Forrest smiled. Well, aren't you a pretty little girl? I hope you enjoy your stay here? I said nothing, too overcome by her kindness. If it were genuine I didn't know. I didn't care either. No matter how much kindness anyone would show me I would not be susceptible to it. I longed for my old life, but I knew I would never possess it again. Miss Forrest rose to face Miss Sheldon and asked, does she speak English, Chris? Yes, I do, Miss Forrest, I said. I also speak Spanish, French, and Russian. Oh, a bilingual child, some lucky parents are just waiting for you. I'll leave her to your care, Miss Sheldon said and walked out the front door. I clutched my small bag of the few possessions I managed to save. It consisted of a few clothes along with Uncle Martin's book and the doll Mother had made for my 5th birthday. The little brown bag was found among the wreckage where I was found, but no one at the hospital knew it was mine. Miss Forrest offered to take my bag, but I refused. I clung to it like a drowning sailor clutching onto a raft. Aurora, you don't have to be afraid. No one here is going to hurt you. And Aurora, we're all on a first name basis here. So call me Missy, short for Melissa. Now, would you like to see your room? I nodded. Right this way, she said and indicated to me to follow her. We walked a flight of stairs and down 2 hallways. Missy opened the door for me. The room was small. It was no bigger than my closet back home. I had entered another world. I had become a tiny grain of sand in a world full of strangers. I contemplated escape, but that seemed futile to me, now. "Come, Aurora," she said and held out her hand. "You're very lucky that you have one of the smaller rooms. This way you don't have to share with a roommate. I'll leave you to get settled. Dinner is at 6, and you must be prompt. If you're late you do without." "Yes, Miss Forrest." "Please, call me Missy." She left me to my solitude. Only now did I realize what I had gotten myself into. So I was in an orphanage, light years from home and no way to get back. In the small dresser I put away the few clothes I possessed. I kept Uncle Martin's book and Mother's doll hidden in my bag and stuffed it in the bottom drawer of the dresser. The only thing that lay atop it was the wind-up clock. Its tick I believed would drive me mad when night came. The only other things that occupied the tiny room were a small desk and a twin bed with a lumpy mattress. A small thin pillow lay on the unmade bed with no pillowcase and no sheet on the mattress. I opened the closet to find a thick wool colorless blanket and a thin sheet. I decided to make the bed in hopes of making a room a little cheerier, but in the end I found it as drab as before. At 5:30 I walked down the stairs. Many children piled the staircase as I reached the bottom. I could almost smell the food and followed my instinct. I became like a bloodhound on the hunt. The mess hall was large with long iron base tables lined up in rows. It reminded me of the cafeteria at my old school. I saw Missy talking with a man in a gray suit. Fearing the unknown I stayed in the doorway until she looked my way and indicated that I come to her. Hesitantly I walked towards her until I found myself standing next to her. "Jimmy, this here is Aurora," she said to her male companion. "Chris brought her here just a few hours ago." "Aurora," he said, studying me. "Unusual name. Greek, I believe." "I think so," Missy said. "Is that right, dear?" "I'm not sure," I said, continuing my lie. "What about your parents?" Missy asked. "I don't know who my parents were. Anna took care of me at Figone Manor." "Figone Manor?" Jimmy questioned. "That wouldn't be Dr. Roland Figone?" "Yes, sir, I miss him greatly. He was a good man who loved his family." "Then why did he kill him?" Jimmy fumed. Missy slapped his arm. "Jimmy, that's just a rumor. Don't say things like that in front of the children." "It's all right," I said. "He can say whatever he likes, but I knew Dr. Figone to be a good and honest gentleman. That's all that matters, not rumors." "Bravo, Aurora," Missy applauded. "It's nice to have a voice of reason around here. Now, go on and get your dinner." I decided I liked Missy even though I later learned that Jimmy was, in fact, her brother. I wouldn't hold that against her, for she had been the only person who was genuinely nice to me since my life as Aurora had begun. I waited until all of the other children had dispersed before heading back to my room. I was quite surprised when Jimmy stopped me at the door. "Going somewhere, Aurora? That is your name, isn't it?" "Yes." I almost whispered. He pulled out a magazine article with a picture of my family on it. "What's this?" I asked. "You should know your own parents." "I don't have parents." "But you did. You may still have one. You see, Dr. Figone's body was never found. Don't try denying it, Marianna. Marianna is dead. My name is Aurora. Understand?" I walked away even though I was worried Jimmy would tell of my secret, that I had been lying to everyone. That night I hardly slept. I felt that if Jimmy Forrest exposed me my life would be in danger. As long as Dr. Brown thought I was dead I would be safe. When I finally fell asleep I heard Missy knocking on my door. I heard her footsteps in my room. Up, up, up. "It's the start of a brand new day," she chimed as I groaned. "Oh, we'll have none of that. We must register you for school." I finally sat up and rubbed the sleep out of my eyes. "School?" "Yes," she said. "Now, tell me, what was the last year of school you completed?" "Freshman year of high school," I said without thinking. "What?" she asked and looked at me strangely. "Oh, dear, does anyone know this? Oh, Lord, Jimmy said there was something strange about you. Please, Missy, don't tell anyone. I've never been to regular school. I had tutors at first. It's only last year that I went to a real school. Please, don't make me go. But you have to. I'll lose my job if you don't, she pleaded. If you don't want me to tell anyone, fine, but you have to go. A smart girl like you can do that. All right, I'll try. Aurora, you're going to be fine. I know how hard this is. I was once an orphan too. Jimmy and me used to live here 20 years ago. I was only 9 years old and Jimmy was just a year younger. One day this couple came looking for a girl and boy. I guess that through dumb luck they chose us, so you see I do understand. So, cheer up. Your secrets are safe with me. Missy held out an arm to hug me. This was the first time since Mother's death someone showed me any affection. I wanted to tell her everything, but I dared not. Finally, I had met someone who understood my situation, but I still feared Gimme. Missy believed him to be a wonderful and loving brother, but he seemed conniving and vindictive to me. I hoped he wouldn't make good on his threats.
Well, that's it for this chapter, so I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.